Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Mike Chua, physical therapist, certified dementia practitioner, and your alternative career coach. Welcome to our career healthcare podcast and show, where we talk about different ways to find your alternative career and achieve both work and financial freedom. So visit our website, drmikechua.com or alternativehealthcarecareers.com for more information. Again, thank you for watching and listening. Welcome to our show. Be awesome, be great, be excellent, ACG. Have a great day and enjoy the show. Bye-bye.
Talk to me that I can actually provide therapy and the ability to mentor other people, the ability to help adults with disabilities in my community and older adults. I'm really focusing on adults with disabilities and be able to focus on things inside and outside of the home. Like I could help people with taking public transportation, finding a job, maintaining a job, interacting in the community. And these are all like really exciting things. So at first I thought it was honestly too good to be true, which most people do. But really like that's what Optonome is about, is bringing that value-based care. And hi, Liz, thank you for checking in. But to bring that value-based care and honestly wipe out all of those middlemen. Optonome is your one back office. So you don't have anyone else that you are literally paying out. Like it should make it simplified for you, as well as your ability to provide that one-on-one, get back in your therapy roots care that I'm going to be doing in about a couple of months. So I'm really excited about that. I have 2 homes that you can check out my group, but there's 2 homes that I manage in West Philly that Dennis and the Optonome team found for me. I don't pay for the house. I don't manage the house. I just manage the adults with disabilities in that house, but it creates affordable housing. And yeah, they're already bringing that one house is already bringing in revenue, Dennis. So that's really cool to see, because there's a Airbnb model within these homes, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But yeah, so I just want to reintroduce myself. I know I was with Mike last week and we had a really fun time.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was pretty hilarious. So yeah, let me introduce you to Dennis, a great leader. Honestly, I really appreciate his honesty and what he's doing for home health care. And yeah, take it away, Dennis.
Thanks, Shane. I really appreciate it. Where to start? I'm a serial entrepreneur, a computer engineer, and I decided to start my own home healthcare agency after many years purchasing and investing in real estate, where I wanted to create some type of social impact in my local community. And,
Sorry about that.
Sure. By doing so, I started a home healthcare agency after I figured out that it was too expensive to actually start on as part of being a part of the franchise. Right now, the only options to actually start a home healthcare agency is a franchise or some type of consulting firm. Most consulting firms would probably charge between $10,000 and $20,000 just for one payer. And so with those barriers in place, it's really hard for healthcare professionals like you, Shane, to actually be a part of the growing home healthcare industry. And I realized that while I was becoming a licensed provider, it's very difficult because you have to go back and forth with administrators to make sure your policies and procedures are in place. You have the right systems in place to just make sure you can provide a right quality service. And for healthcare professionals like you don't have time to do things like that. And so that's what pushed me to, after really being successful in home healthcare, to figure out a way to help healthcare professionals like you.
Pause for 1 second, Dennis.
Sure.
Do we still have an echo, guys? Can you literally ask me right now? Is the echo still going on for you guys? Can you let me know? Because I got 2 people. I got Hannah Sorry, Dennis, you're a bit difficult to understand. You have an echo.
What I can do is I probably could.
I'm gonna put on the earplugs, earbuds. I'm gonna try that. Give me a second. Is it with just Dennis or with both of us? Only with Dennis. It's just you.
Okay.
Do you want to put in headphones?
Let me see.
See if that works. Thanks, guys, for letting me know.
I could.
All right, so as Dennis is reconfiguring, I want to give you guys some updates. Oh, you can hear Dennis on my speaker, so I'll mute it when he's chatting. So thanks for letting me know about that, guys. But yeah, so Dennis is talking about the process of what he's been doing with Optonome and how he's been growing. I want to tell you guys how Optonome has been growing in terms of now becoming a nationwide agency to help you guys and becoming a nationwide platform for you guys. So right now, there are 12 states that got started with Optonome. The latest 2 has been New York as well as Tennessee. So Mike just got started in Tennessee, which is really cool. I forget the name. So Mike, if you're on tonight, please let us know the name of your agency because I know people are dying to want to know. So with the 12 states getting started, there's a lot of occupational therapists. But like I said, in terms of, I said in the other video with Mike, who are the 5 that can get started in your agency? If you want to be the CEO of a home healthcare agency with Optonome, you need to be one of the 5, which is an occupational therapist, physical therapist, RN, PT, or a behavioral specialist. A CODA and a PTI can partner with one of those 5 healthcare professionals as well. You guys are definitely a healthcare professional, but to meet the requirements of a home healthcare agency, you need to be one of those 5 categories that I just shouted out and said. So, Dennis, take it away. We're just talking about the agencies getting started in 12 states and the 5 people, the 5 healthcare professionals that need to be on the CEO in order to start a home healthcare agency.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? All right, cool. All right. So where did I leave off? So a little bit, I'll start over. I'm a serial entrepreneur, a computer engineer, and I started my own home healthcare agency in late 2011, where I taught myself how to get through the regulation process because I really didn't have anyone to guide me. And I tried to reach out to local franchises, but they were too expensive, $50,000 to $100,000, and that's when I realized that there's a high barrier to entry, which really hinders the growth of the industry. It makes it very difficult for healthcare professionals like you, Shayna, to own your own agency because of these franchises. And so as I continue to go through the trials and tribulations of every home healthcare agency, even though I was growing, I was still facing all the problems like the turnover, the ability to make sure staff are properly trained, things like that. I wanted to make sure that my staff, as well as my agency, was providing a high quality service. And so I built Optonome to do that. I'm a computer engineer. When I started my agency, I was researching paperless technologies for the federal government. And so when I realized that everybody was using paper, I couldn't figure out why they were still using paper. If you're providing a service to someone, information or data needs to be documented and properly shared to the right people at the right time. If there's a behavioral episode, someone can't wait 24 hours for some type of documented material to be shared with the care teams. And believe it or not, that's still going on to this day. And that's one of the reasons why CMS and you're starting to see changes in care delivery through PDPM and PDGM. And so during this Q&A today, we'll go over the details of autonomy and why we made it so easy for you to get started and the benefits that it'll create for your local community. So let's get started, Shana.
All right, awesome. So, so let's start asking. I'm going to start asking you some questions, but please, guys, if you guys have questions, the floor is yours. You can ask away. I guess one question that I want to start with you, Dennis, was how did your own agency grow when you started using the Optonome platform that we're all using moving forward?
Sure. All right. So the birth of it started when I received a referral that came with a staff member. I didn't know the staff member was forging documentation, so I needed a way to verify their location when documenting. And that's what most home health care agencies are required to offer right now. It's called electronic visit verification. So I built it into Optonome because I needed to know where my staff were at the time. And so that allowed me to really start to scale. It allowed me to have more staff because I now knew where they were and the documentation that they were providing was true. And I was more confident when talking to family members and administrators because I had data to back it up. And so that following year, or 2014, when we started to push out Optonome to staff, we grew to 745,000 that first real full year of service delivery. And as a result, we were recognized by Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses as the youngest company that was entered into their group of businesses. And so that following year, when we started to really implement the training features and the ability to manage staff, we were able to support more people as a result and provide 24-hour care. And those that need 24-hour care, those types of contracts really are large. On average, we were billing between $500 and $1,000 a day. And so that allowed us to really get over $1 million in revenues, and we approached $1.5 million that following year.
Cool. All right. Well, let me give you some shout outs. So we have Julian that checked in, and Julian just got started in New York. So she's going to be awesome because she has her husband's a RN, and it's just going to be a really cool combo. An RN can easily qualify to help to start a 24-hour care housing opportunity, which is really cool. Hi, Hannah. I know I've been seeing you a little bit on the group. Barbara. Liz is getting started. She's a speech therapist, and she's on the outskirts of Philly. So she has a really cool agency called Hortus Health that should get started soon. Hey, Jeffrey. Terry's another one too. She's on the therapy business and the Optonome program, which is cool. Tamra, my girl in Florida, she works so hard. She's going to start her agency hopefully soon because she is a hard worker. Hannah has a question. She says, Dennis, how did you decide on a healthcare agency? So maybe this is the question you're asking, Hannah. And you know what, Dennis, I've never asked you this, and I have a question. You were making a really good amount, by the second year. You were making 1.5 million, I think, by the second. So why would you step back from that and then wanting to make it a nationwide company?
Right. And I get asked that all the time. They said, why don't you just hire all these clinicians for your own company? And that's really not something that I'm interested in. The home healthcare industry is so broken. I really don't see any type of solution that's currently in place to help consumers or adults with autism really age in place. My personal experience, I had personal events in my life that really affected me, and I see families with family members with disabilities that have these loved ones and really don't know what to do. And so there really needs to be something in place for the long term, which currently is not existent. If someone with a disability have a loved one that something happens to, they really don't have anything in place long term. So that's why I focused on really expanding Optonome so more people could receive care no matter where they live. It's not about the money. It's about being able to offer a solution that could really change the industry and really help clinicians now become entrepreneurs. And this shift in technology right now, technology is really taking over a lot of industries. And if you don't use it wisely, it could take over your job. And so with Optonome, I'm making sure that human service component is still in play, and you're taking advantage of it where you're using the technology to run your agency instead of your employer using it to basically control you and basically use the profits for their own benefit.
Yeah, I think that's what got me excited was that there was like the back office was just so automated and regulated, state and federal regulated, that I didn't have to worry about all that back end because one, I didn't learn business in OT school. I never thought I wanted to be an entrepreneur until I found like you, and basically you like have guided me through the whole thing. Like people have asked me, "Oh, you're starting a business. Like, isn't that stressful?" And it really hasn't been. Like I've had every step guided along the way, as well as like training in my role as a CEO. So that's what I really appreciated with you, Dennis, and with Optonome is that I got trained and I'm still getting trained throughout. And it's just knocking down like all these barriers of what I always thought I had to work through a middle person in order to be an OT. But now that I realize, hey, I can start my own agency and I can have that guidance and financially make what I want and time-wise be able to make what I want, because like time for me is a really big deal. Like I have a daughter right now. My husband, he travels a lot and he travels very frequently. And sometimes he'll just be like, Shayna, I'm traveling next week. And I'm like, great, that's awesome. So I really like the fact that I can work at 10 hours and make a 6-figure salary based off of 10 hours within these 2 homes that I'll manage. And as well as like, we want to grow our family. So I want to have more time to be able to find that work-life balance. Like us as OTs, we've been trained, find that work-life balance. But it's just been with PDGM and PDPM, it's been crazy to find that. So I feel like I found that with Optonome. And can you talk to people, because people are like, I don't believe you. What is it? How can you work 10 hours and make a 6-figure salary? So can you talk to them about that? Because I know that's probably what they're all like dying to know.
Sure. Can I have 20 seconds? My son is calling me.
So let's talk about Dennis's life. He has 2 kids under 2. His wife is an occupational therapist. And right now his wife is in New Jersey and he is in University City, being super dad. So we do have a question from Terry. Please explain the various ways that I can meet the needs of seniors, dementia, aging. Is respite care an option to provide as well? Okay, so yes, what are the various ways to meet the needs of seniors, dementia, and aging? And I know, Tara, for you, you're on the Therapy Business Builder and Optonome, I believe, correct? If I'm wrong, say incorrect or correct. But with older adults, Dennis, right now, we had a question from Terry, who's getting started in Florida with us about older adults. So for her, for older adults, we go the same model both ways. We start out non-medical. So non-medical services are what your direct support professional will be doing for your consumers, or your, what we call them consumers, but other people say clients. But with that, you're going to provide non-medical services for them. So you're going to be helping them with light housekeeping. You're going to be helping them with things around the home. Because I think you are doing Med B. Let me know correct me if I'm wrong, but some of you guys are doing Med B. So you can easily convert these clients and these consumers to non-medical services after you see them Med B, because one, they're still probably going to need services, non-medical services from you, and you can provide that. And two, that consumer. So you can provide that great, what we're looking for with Optonome is that healthcare professional doing and assisting and managing non-medical services. Most agencies aren't doing that. It's mostly the DSP or the home healthcare is out there on their own. They don't get mentorship. They don't get like I said, a healthcare professional coming out, and they don't get consistency. So you being the CEO of your agency, you make that consistency and you provide that value-based care, because as a physical therapist, you can say, hey, something as simple as like a throw rug, like, let's get rid of that. That's a tripping hazard. He's a falls risk. Like, he needs more like safety within home. So you can educate the DSP, provide that continuum of care, and you're providing that on a monthly basis for older adults. You're providing that clinical supervision for these older adults. For adults with disabilities, you're seeing them one time a week, and you're providing that same clinical oversight and supervision for them. So and respite care. Yes, respite care is a service that you get qualified in. Optonome, you can get qualified in, I don't know, Dennis, jump in on this after I answer this, but you can jump in up to 15 services that you can get qualified, non-medical and medical services. So respite care is something for both older adults and adults with disabilities. So let me hand it over to you.
Right. As far as the types of services that we get you qualified for, again, I'm a serial entrepreneur. And so I want you, if you're starting your business, to have a business that's profitable. So we focus on, from the beginning, services that are in high demand. And for adults with disabilities or autism, that's supportive employment, because 90% of those with disabilities or autism are unemployed, as well as affordable housing, because they're all on fixed incomes if they're on Medicaid. And so they're only receiving $765 a month. And that is not enough for a one-bedroom apartment. And the goal for Medicaid is for them to be more independent, meaning not living in an institution or hospital. And so using Optonome, we create a value-based care component, which most payers are starting to realize is the social determinant of health, which is housing, affordability of activities, being able to be transported to those activities, having a job. And so we build it into Optonome, so agencies that are getting up and running will be able to offer that service without extra effort. And so those services, which are fee-for-service type services, supportive employment, job finding, community inclusion type services. Respite care is more on if a family member needs a break, it could be in that person's home, or if someone is transitioning from an institution or hospital, you could offer a respite for maybe 30 days. So you can assess the person and then transition them into some type of home setting. I've done all those. And so with Optonome, we manage the regulations so you're able to offer those services, because if you're doing them by yourself, you would need additional administrative staff. So my goal is for healthcare professionals to focus on healthcare delivery and oversight, which is what is really missing these days.
Cool. And so like this was a thing for me that I was getting tripped up with the first month that I was learning about autonomy was that, okay, I'm not looking at starting my home healthcare agency as an OT doing direct therapy. That took a little bit of time. You're focusing on non-medical services. So you as the CEO are going to manage your direct support professionals, okay? And what Dennis is talking about, supportive employment, respite, skill building, non-medical transportation, respite care. That's just 5, but there are, like I said, up to 15 things that you can get qualified in other than just being direct OT, direct PT, direct speech therapy. So these are the cool things that I didn't realize as a home healthcare agency that I could do as an OT. And because you're a healthcare professional, you're allowed to provide these services, which was a really cool thing that I didn't realize I could do. So we have a question. We're going to get into the how to figure out the 6 figures working 10 hours, but I just want to get everyone's questions in because Julian has a question because she just got started up in New York. So she's just getting used to, the onboarding of getting her agency started. So I'm going to take myself, for example. Once my business is up and running, how am I going to get my referrals? Where am I going to see them?
Right. So June is in the New York area. And so, again, I look for affordable housing opportunities or ways to create them. And I guess a one-liner of how I explain autonomy to a lot of people, it's a Brookdale in your local community, a Brookdale senior living in your local community. And from my real estate experience, I'm able to find real estate that could potentially be self-sustaining and offer it to the provider, where once you receive a referral, you're able to offer services to that referral at those sites, meaning you could offer respite service, you could offer 24-hour care, or you could offer some type of subsidized housing. And that gains the interest of case managers, of hospitals, because as well as state administrators, because they're currently paying too much for these institutions and hospitals. So now your agency becomes a go-to provider on their list. And if you're able to prove that you have the right systems in place, such as the ability to train your staff, the ability to see what they're doing and give suggestions as far as service delivery, then those referrals start to roll in. And that's what we do. We establish your agency, give you the tools that are proven in the industry, and then we start our outreach. But you're not going to get those referrals if you don't have the right systems in place, the right policies and procedures, and the ability to offer them some type of value-based care.
Yeah. So again, with Optonome, let me give you some background too. Optonomy's niche is adults with disabilities. So adults with disabilities, you don't have to market yourself. Optonome does all the marketing for you. So you have like that stress reliever of knowing that Optonome will help get you referrals. Adults with disabilities are 2 major ways, and Dennis talked about this. I also did a live on this on my group if you want to check that out. But for adults with disabilities, our 2 main ways of getting you referrals is housing authority. And you're like, what? But like housing authority is, there's a wait list. There's a wait list of adults with disabilities that want affordable housing. And you, with your home healthcare agency, can provide affordable housing because, again, you take away all those middlemen. You just have autonomy that you pay out at 10% of your total revenues. And then you have your direct support professionals. So housing authority is one way that we get your referrals, and your support coordinators in your area. So for Juneland, I think you're in Long Island. So your support coordinators within that area, Tanya would contact them, say, hey, Juneland is an occupational therapist and her husband's an RN. They are trained And they have this platform where they can provide affordable housing. They have supportive employment, which these are courses that you need to take in order to provide that service. So they have all of these skill building services, and not just what, I'll tell you what, because I'm going through it right now. Like cities, when you register your agency, the agencies, like the people that are like saying, oh yeah, you can have an agency in your city, are like sick of getting more agencies to go through, because a lot of agencies are doing companionship care or homemaking. So they're not skill building. They are just coming in, watching your grandmom, or watching the adult with disability for a couple hours and then leaving. Like, that is not autonomy. We are skill building them. We are providing them a healthcare professional on the team. These are like big things that real support coordinators are looking for. So that's the advantage that you're going to have. Affordable housing, and you're getting a healthcare professional, very needed in those areas. So yeah, I hope that we clarified that. We have some people saying hi, Isabel. Lisa has an amazing agency getting started because she already has a business, so she's tying that really well together, which is really cool. Mike, thank you. Yes, we're in the house. We have a question from Katie Dennis. I just jumped onto Optonomy's website and I saw phase 1 is non-medical and phase 2 is medical. Do you have to go through phase 1 for months 1 to 12 to get to phase 2? Can you talk about that? Can you talk about the phases of non-medical into medical, Dennis?
Sure. So going into, we start off at non-medical because it's the cheapest route. All right. You don't want to go directly into medical because you're required to achieve deemed status, similar to a hospital. And the insurance is very expensive. So it's pointless to go directly into medical if you're new into home healthcare. And so during the first 6 to 9 months, you're learning about the ins and outs of home healthcare delivery. You're getting up and running. And then once you finally start services, you definitely want to start off with non-medical. Trust me. I know there are franchises that stop doing medical because of their staffing problems and just deal with private pay, non-medical. Private pay non-medical is a huge industry in itself. Many people do not have insurance and need to care for their loved ones, so they pay out of pocket. Medicare Advantage, which is non-medical services, 30 million older adults are currently qualified for Medicare Advantage services. So there's a lot to offer through non-medical services. So I want everyone to be exposed to these types of services as they're growing in the next 5 years, and then be able to transition into medical services. Once you're generating a good amount of revenue, then you're able to for that next step. But to just jump right into medical services is not the best idea as a small business starting out. Again, I'm a serial entrepreneur. I want you to become profitable, not grow that really fast. You can grow really fast just through non-medical services alone. So when you're establishing that footprint, this is the best route to take.
Nice. Yeah, I agree too, because honestly, I don't want to start out medical. Like, that freaks me out because you have to have a lot more regulations that you have to go through. You have to pay more, and there's more liability with that. So I'm glad to start out with my own business on medical route first. So let me just jump in and ask, because I know people are asking, how do you make a 6-figure salary working 10 hours a week? Break that down.
All right. Well, I'm like Andrew Yang. I like math. So if the math does not work, I don't proceed. So as far as services that, the main services that you provide, for example, for non-medical services by a direct support professional, you could bill, let's say, $30 an hour for non-medical services for one consumer. On average, an adult with autism that's looking to transition into a community that has been living with their parents or living in some type of institution as a teenager, they need their ongoing supports so that they can live more independent. And most states have Medicaid waivers in place, so they can receive those services. And so they receive between 20 and 40, sometimes 50 hours a week in services, right? And so that really adds up really fast. So for example, if you have 10 consumers receiving, let's say, 40 hours a week of services, where you're billing $30 an hour, do the math for you real fast. That is $12,000 a week gross, right? That is a year. Let's say we are paying staff plus miscellaneous costs. So let's just say after expenses, you have $7 after expenses per hour. Right? 7 times 40 times 10 times 32. So I get $7 net times 40 hours a week times 10 consumers times 52 weeks. Right. So this is a possible scenario that your take home if you have 10 consumers after your expenses. Right. So it's a quick example. And again, there's so many other services that you can provide. You can provide non-medical through older adults. You can provide medical 24-hour care, billing $500 to $1,000 a day. It really adds up as you provide more services. When I was doing my agency, I don't think we went over 15, 16 consumers. And so you are able to scale much faster and generate much more revenue because Optonome takes care of the back office. So it's a win-win for you. And like I said, I had the opportunity, or I still have the opportunity to offer this type of solution to franchises and existing home healthcare agencies that are not run by healthcare professionals. But all they will do, just like all these other Fortune 500 companies, is keep the profits to themselves. Even though they're more efficient, they don't pass the savings onto their consumers or staff. So that's why it's better to have healthcare professionals that know what they're doing as well as want a social impact, be able to use this technology. You're able to make more money, create a social impact, create affordable housing where everybody wins.
Yeah, so I mean, this is the reason why I like Optonome is that, yes, I'm going to have financial freedom, but, there's a couple of things. One, at most, if I'm working with adults with disability, I'm working at most 30 hours a week. If I want to, I really don't want to. I want to do maybe like 20 hours a week, but 30 hours a week, if you're adding non-medical and medical services, can give you a net of up to $500,000. So, which can sound crazy, but like I said, once you get qualified in all these services, you're able to do more than just your therapy role. And again, when you have these direct support professionals working with you, this is how you're able to scale and be able to have that financial freedom as well as time freedom, which is really nice. Again, if you're family and you want to have that great balance. So let me go ahead.
Sure. All right. So let's deal with that. So as far as oversight when providing services, currently in the home healthcare industry for non-medical services, there are no healthcare professionals providing oversight. All right. So by you creating your agency, you're offering something that's not available to these consumers or clients. So you have an advantage by just starting. And clinical oversight is really what's needed because these payers, even though the consumer or client will need occupational therapy services or physical therapy services, they're not going to add it to the plan. So you could have documented data showing or the family saying that they need occupational therapy, maybe because John's arm, he can't move it properly when trying to make a meal. There are all types of scenarios that get overlooked and passed by. With your agency, you're able to have that data and be able to document it and share with the clinical team that will listen to you because you're a licensed professional. And Optonome helps you collect that data that is needed. And so if it comes down the line that, okay, this consumer needed this service, you can always have that data and provide it to the care team. And you're getting paid at the same time because you own the agency. So you don't need to bill. You can provide that service as part of your oversight and still be in compliance.
Again, that's why I like Optonome. Like, you're the CEO. Like, when you think of like Beata, like the CEO is not coming out to people's homes and saying like, "Hey, what's going on?" So can you guys just let me know that the sound quality is still okay when me and Dennis are both, have our mics on? If not, we'll fix that. But yeah, so like that's your role. Like, you're breaking barriers. You're going out to the homes and you're providing like your true healthcare professional role, making that financial freedom, that time freedom, and still making a big difference. Like, you're with these clients for years. Like, that's the cool part. You're not with them for a couple weeks, you're with them for years. So let me just, I'm going to get to you in a second, Lisa and Joanna, but Hannah had a question I think that would relate to this right now. She said, so your skilled therapists are making $20 a visit. So let's talk about that, Dennis, because it could be a therapist coming out, Hannah, but we onboard people and get them trained from high school diploma all the way up to if they have a bachelor's degree. People can start with a high school diploma and we can onboard them and train them. This is all done through Optonome to get them trained all the way up to where they can be making $50 an hour. So Dennis can chat with that, but the code is out here, the PTAs, like the direct support professional that you as the CEO are managing could be a great role for a CODA or a PTA to provide, because they can get up to anywhere between $25 to $40 an hour being a direct support, or $50 too. What am I saying? Like 25 and up, because of their expertise level. So let me give the mic to Dennis.
Thanks. All right. Yeah, this one hits close to home. So another reason why Optonome is what it is I had to create some type of marketplace because staff get burnt out. They don't want to work in the same position, especially in the behavioral health side, supporting someone with behavioral needs. They're very complex and they're very challenging. So there needed to be a way where staff are placed based on their skill set and not just placed because they're available for that time shift, as well as give them opportunities to grow. In the current landscape, you could see there are home health aides that start off at $8 an hour and then maybe get a 25% boost after a year. This is 2020, and with the proper technology in place, they can be upskilled. And so that's what I focused on. I focused on finding ways to upskill staff so that they have the proper tools in the palm of their hand when they're providing services. And that allowed them to start to document things that otherwise were documented by supervisors or managers. And with that savings, you could then have them pay them more. And so that's what we're doing with Optonome. We're giving them the skills and the ability to really manage a 24-hour facility, be able to document things that otherwise would be an allegation of a neglect or abuse. And so it really, with that type of data documented, we're able to save on administrative staff as well as pay them more for their time. And they're continuously trained through Optonome. Again, it's a marketplace of different jobs in housing and healthcare. And so it gives them the opportunity to grow. And as healthcare professionals, you're able to mentor these entry-level workers so that there are more licensed healthcare professionals coming through the pipeline. They're able to see them at an early stage and help them continuously train until they go to school and get their bachelor's or master's. So that's what I like the most about Optonome. People that I know that just graduated high school, that they can pick up Optonome, start training, get a job, and they can learn at their own pace to potentially earn up to $50 an hour. Something like that is definitely not available in the market and is desperately needed in the home healthcare space to help grow this industry. It's already growing, but the providers are behind.
And I really love that because, like, honestly, I can already tell you from my area, like, my nanny is actually going to become a DSP. Her friend who's a nanny is going to become a DSP. Like, it creates so much opportunity that gets me excited because I feel like where I was before I started Optonome, I wasn't valued as much as an OT. And the biggest thing that I told myself, the next job I get, I'm going to make that other person feel valued. So it makes me feel good that you started this platform and they have the potential to earn up to $50, but also have that mentorship with me where I can show them that, like, hey, I value you. You are like the glue to my agency. You're the one getting my consumers getting a job, taking public transportation, like all these great things. So I really do value the whole model of the DSP and what you've done with the job marketplace, because now like I said, my nanny's going to have opportunities and they're going to feel valued just as much as they should be valued. They're doing a great job. So there's a lot of questions coming in, Dennis. So Renee, Lisa, I'm interested in young children. Is this an option with the medical portion of Optonome to provide OT for this population? I am thinking of children in foster care.
Right. So we're currently piloting actual medical daycare right now in the Philadelphia area with a psychiatrist where he's providing services specifically to children with autism. So offering services to children and teenagers is definitely a possibility. It all depends on the type of offering. And again, we still start with non-medical services for adults and then transition into medical. So you are able to transition into children during that second year. That is possible.
Awesome. Actually, that daycare, is that the daycare at my house?
No, that's a different location. But yeah, children with autism at that location, that's definitely a great idea.
Yeah, so my home, so my home is called an inclusion home. So it's not just a group home. Like when you think of adults with disabilities, we want them to skill build. We want them to get a job. We want them to live independently. So my home is actually having a floor of Airbnb, which is up and running. It's been up and running for like almost 2 months now, maybe more. The second floor would be adults with disabilities. And then the first floor is a kitchen, open concept. And the one house has a whole section that a daycare can be, which is just really cool because one, great inclusion. Two, you can provide supportive employment for your adults with disabilities. So if they're a good fit for that daycare, they can volunteer, they can get a job, they can maintain a job, all within their own house. Like, it's just a really cool model that Apple is actually doing and Google's trying to do, but Optonome has already shown and proven that it can happen. So that kind of ties into Joanna's question. As far as affordable housing, do we have to purchase real estate? And does Optonome have not a real estate component? So chat about that.
Sure. So I help people purchase homes and start their small business to actually establish small business credit so that they can purchase homes all the time. So as far as once you want to start your own agency, you definitely can purchase a home and use it or license it or services if it is in that separate entity. But it is separate from your offering, and it's not a liability to your agency. Again, Optonome establishes it separately, and it's self-sustaining. I want everybody to know that it is self-sustaining, meaning it does not depend on your agency for revenues in order to purchase that property or to keep it in service. And so I built an algorithm to search local areas to search for real estate that could potentially be income generating, so that if you're willing to drive within 30 minutes of your home, we'll be able to create some type of hub or some type of group of houses that you could use to establish affordable housing for your consumers. And Optonome is able to manage those services because, again, I built Optonome while offering managing homes as well as offering 24-hour care. So we're able to offer Airbnb services, short-term housing services, small businesses where Optonome can manage that small business. It's a multi-user-friendly application that could take care of the back office, and it's not just for home healthcare providers. It helps the actual small business generate revenues so that providers like you, Shana, could focus on care delivery, and that's what's most important.
Yeah, so, okay, let me do like a little, I'm going to show you how, I don't know if you want to call it easy, Dennis, but someone shout out where they live, like city and state, and Dennis will give you a walkthrough of how he finds real estate in your area. So if you are interested, hey, I want to do affordable housing, just give me a state right now, give me your city, and Dennis will show you in your area how easy it is to try to create a inclusion home in your area. So just city and state, first one will. And while okay, so we got Nashville, Tennessee. So Dennis, while you're looking, I want to talk to you about my home. So I have 2 homes right now that are going to service up to 6 adults with disabilities in the homes total. I didn't find the homes. Dennis researched them and got the real estate investors. I just said yay or nay to the homes. And I got to meet one of the real estate investors, which was a unique experience. I don't want to say who he is. He's a really nice guy. He's actually like the brother of an NBA player. And yeah, so I met him and we talked about how the home is going to be utilized. You know, he loves it because we're providing affordable housing and caring for adults with disability. And he likes it because he gets at least 3 revenue streams, which is why a lot of real estate investors partner with Optonome. 1 is with the rent for adults with disabilities. 2 is Airbnb. And 3, like I said, is another work opportunity. So like the daycare in my home, like this, he gets 3 different types of revenues. So this is why a lot of real estate people jump on this opportunity to have this type of affordable housing. So did you find something, Dennis, or do you need another minute or 2?
No, I found the hub right here. 3 properties across the street from each other, 23rd Avenue, in downtown Nashville. And so again, a hub is a group of 3 or more properties with the ability to expand. So that once you're up and running, you have a location within 30 minutes of your home where consumers could potentially live. This home could be a licensed facility where these homes could be just offering affordable housing. And so this is definitely a good location because when I start to zoom out, there are tons of homes that are available. And if we need to go up, there are even more homes. So this is definitely a good location. And Nashville has plenty of properties in the area. I'm pretty sure, and are well distance of downtown. So I do like this area in North Nashville, Tennessee.
All right, let's do one more because I like in my mind that like just blows my mind how you're able to like find that really quick and be able to establish a hub. So let's do another person. Let's do with Hannah, Alexandria, Virginia. So again, it took Dennis like 2 minutes. It took him like
because Amazon just moved there. And I actually know Alexandria, Virginia, because I used to live there. You'll have to go a little bit further south of Alexandria, down 95. I know that for a fact. Again, or you could go Fort Washington in the Maryland area used to be very good. But again, because Amazon moved to this area right here, Alexandria is very expensive. So the types of housing that is available is now available in the further south. I sold a house right here. I could actually show it to you. I sold this house in 2015. Wow, the estimate is 500. I should have kept it. So I bought it for 135,000. All right, then I sold it for 347. All right, so really nice house. I flipped it, and I took advantage of the market. I actually sold it on my birthday, so it was my gift to myself. So as far as Alexandria, it's really difficult at this time. If we want to establish a hub, it'll be through partnering with existing homes that are available or existing complexes, and then start to expand west into the counties. Let's see.
So this is what I like about Optonome is that there's complete honesty with everything. So, you know, if you are interested in your area, Dennis and his team will research your area and he will say like your area is too rural. You know, that is one thing. You need to have like a pretty populous, is that even a word? You got to have a lot of people in your area. If you're in a really rural area, then Dennis will look around that area for you because he wants you to be successful. You're not going to start an agency with Optonome if the area is not a great area. And he's going to be honest with you with that because he wants you to be successful, almost literally guaranteeing you a 6-figure salary. He's going to want you to be in a good place where you can provide those resources. So, yes, we're going to say this at the end, but schedule a time to chat with Dennis after you sign up for your home healthcare agency in a box. It's free. He'll talk to you about your area. He'll talk to you about, what you could do based off of your healthcare professional discipline and the area that you live as well. So again, we're getting a lot of questions. Lisa saying, Shane and Dennis, it's been so wonderful. I'm excited about the journey. We're excited with you too. We get to know every agency too. Like, we both try to connect and make sure like we're a community. You may be in a different state, but you're a community. We are building positive changes with home health care. So I really love to see this community come together. Let's see. Okay. Macaria. Sorry, I'm trying to say it in a Spanish accent because I do speak Spanish. But Macaria, she asked, how will you be able to provide Airbnb for temporary stay and affordable housing for those with disabilities to live in the same home? So again, how do you make Airbnb and adults with disabilities live in the same home? And could you also share the story of that guy that just moved into my house? Because I just thought that was like, he had the sweetest response. So can you share that as well with the group?
Sure. And so what you do, well, as far as someone with disabilities, it's all based on the ISP. The ISP states that this person can live independent, or through the training, while receiving services, the entire team comes together before that transition comes into play. And so we're speaking of people that are more independent, can have a job. These are a lot of people. Like Shana said, a lot of these Fortune 500 companies are starting to look to provide jobs to this group, and we want to offer an additional opportunity for people that are left out. Everybody's not going to get a job at Microsoft, that has autism or that has that intellect, but needs supports. And so again, this is a large group of people. And so once they're able to actually live on their own, they then move into the property first, or if they can live with a roommate, then they move into the property. That's when we establish them as the host of the property, meaning they're the leaseholder with the agency, and they're able to help manage the home and receive some type of income from hosting the home or being the leaseholder of the home with the provider. At that time, there's supportive employment services that are being offered, as well as community inclusion services. And if they have behavioral needs, they have there are other support services with a behavioral specialist in place. So all the supports are in place to help that consumer really excel. And so with Optonome, again, the software is able to really manage a small business. And so once they're able to live in the home, they're able to manage the check-in and check-out process of an Airbnb. And these are simple tasks, meaning make sure these are simple tasks that they have to do on their own first. Make sure that their room is clean, make sure the floors are mopped, make sure their bathroom is cleaned, make sure they're able to clean a refrigerator in case there are items in there that have spoiled. These are all simple tasks that are needed during the check-in and check-out process of an Airbnb. And so what I've been doing the past couple of months was I've actually been going through the process myself. Once again, I've done it many years ago, but I actually have been managing the check-in and check-out process myself and then building it into Optonome, so that each specific task is measured, and so we can properly support any consumer and adjust if they need more time or less time during that phase of the check-in and check-out process. And that gives them the opportunity to get paid maybe a living wage, $20-$25 for that hour, where the person that checks in or checks out pays that $20-$25. And so again, that's that job that's built into the actual offering of service. And if there are other roommates inside the home, they're also able to assist and potentially become some type of support system for that consumer. We offer, again, we manage the home, so we offer additional short-term housing for those that are veterans or are older adults. They can also live in the home if they need support services, or if they don't need support services. The home is an inclusion house that offers, again, a better looking home than most people expect if they have some type of healthcare needs. And that's what we're trying to offer through Optonome.
Yeah. So to summarize, having Airbnb or short-term housing within your own home focuses on the individual support plan for the adult with disability, gives them work opportunity, gives them volunteer opportunities, gives them social interaction opportunities. That is all in the ISP, their goals, and you get paid as a result, and they learn to have a job, and then they get paid as a result. So that's a really cool thing. But what can you share them? Because it melted my heart, that one guy that's like living there short term, and even like how this guy could possibly be getting some advantages from Optonome.
Oh, right. So yes, he's a veteran on a fixed income, and he does Uber. And I presented to him the opportunity to manage the check-in and check-out process, which he greatly appreciates, because now he could earn extra income that otherwise was not possible. And so that's what I like. He could potentially be a direct support professional, as well as still do Uber and still manage the check-in and check-out process. And so by him just looking for a place to stay, he's getting additional opportunities to earn revenue for himself. So that's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah, and I think it's really cool that this veteran has this opportunity, and I can't wait to hopefully see him in my home soon. I haven't been back to my house in a couple of weeks. So yeah, you know what? Any of you guys in the Philly area, if you want to check out my home, if you are like, let me see how this really works, message me if you're close. I had a PT reach out to me. I can set it up a time, me or Dennis. You can check out the houses that I have and see if this is something that's right for you if you're in the Philly area. I got another question again from Makaria. Thank you for answering. How long do the individuals live in their home? Is there a set time frame, or is it just based on the individual? So this is the other really cool part. You can see them for years, and Dennis can fill you in a little bit about that more.
Sure. And so when you receive a referral, you basically you're able to understand the entire life of that consumer or client. And so as a licensed healthcare professional, you're able to see, what this person's missing, what needs they need to really excel in their local community. And so each quarter, most states want to move on to new goals. And so if someone is transitioning into adulthood and a more independent life, you could very well work on skill building to land a job for a whole year, very well. And then the following year, you could work on supportive employment, actually having a job. And during that first year, you could work on housing, where the second year, the person could have a roommate. And then the third year, they could probably live on their own with less supports. And so you could very well have a consumer for 3 to 5 years or even more based on their ISP.
Yeah, so again, I find that really cool, because most of us as therapists, we see them for only like a couple of weeks. Actually, for me, my goal is, and I used to work for the Philadelphia School District, so I really want to make some connections, because where do these kids go? First of all, Philadelphia School District, they're still working on handwriting up until the age of, I don't know, 21, when you can graduate at 21. So I really want to make that connection with the Philadelphia School District. Like, hey, you know, a lot of these kids drop off, go back to their parents' home, and then they're there for years. And then their parents start to get worried, like, what's going to happen when I can't take care of them anymore? So you can be that resource for these school districts that what happens to these kids that actually need life skill training. So that's just a really cool thing in itself. Okay, we got a question for Ruth. Ruth says, who furnishes the homes? Supplies, furniture, dishes, etc. Who's responsible for the home? Roof, yard care.
All right. So again, initially, and again, the home is self-sustaining. All right. So we initially furnished the home to make sure we're able to generate revenue totally separate from you as a provider, because we want to generate revenue at the property. So we do furnish it. We're establishing partners for furnishing properties so that people that are traveling or people that want to stay in the property as an Airbnb, they find it attractive. So that is what we do at each hub. Did I answer that question? What else was the question?
What happens if the roof leaks? I'm guessing what happens if the roof leaks, and how do you pay, and who pays for it?
Okay. All right. So we follow the same guidelines as far as housing authorities. So major problems, major problems, is up to the owner of the property. If it's a problem related to an actual, say for example, say a leak inside the house, you know, something like that, the owner has some type of fund to fix that problem. And again, Optonome was built when providing 24-hour care. So as far as regulation purposes, you have to really fix these problems really fast, or the actual consumer or client is required to move, or they very well could have an incident in that time frame. I believe I did a YouTube example of a consumer needing a repair issue in their home, and why it is important to have Optonome in place in case there's a problem. And I'll just give the example right now. So if there's a repair issue, you really need to have the problem shared with the repair person in a timely manner. And so through Optonome, the actual direct support professional and consumer, depending on how independent they are, they can use the application to document the problem. And if needed, the repairman can either go to the site, get a second look, or get the part or supply that's needed, all remotely. With Optonome, everybody has a debit card, and I actually have a debit card somewhere around here. All right, so this is one of the debit cards that were issued to all staff and even repairmen that were part of the marketplace. And we needed everyone to have debit cards because any given moment you need to maybe buy a supply, or you need to fix a problem. And so with these debit cards in place, we were able to eliminate petty cash, as well as be able to audit in a timely manner, as well as transfer funds to a repairman in case a supply is needed in the middle of the night. That's now through the actual application can be easily approved with documentation of everything that's going on.
Yeah. So to summarize it, you know, with Optonome, if there's something that goes on in the home, click, you can take a picture of it, gets uploaded into Optonome platform. A repairman can take a look at it and, you know, fix that based off of the picture. He may come out, but Optonome makes that simpler. Again, the repair is the property owner of the home, but here's one that Ruth gave, and this, I asked you this, I remember when I first started too. What if the consumer damages the home, like a broken window or a hole in the wall?
Right. So those scenarios, It could be if there's 24-hour care, you're able to bill for those types of damages. If it's someone that's more independent, they are, when they do move in, they are presented with a list of items in case they do, break something. So they are aware ahead of time, and most families are aware as well. And so if they do foresee a problem happening like that, or if it is in the ISP, we make sure the direct support professional understands and oversees a potential problem there so it doesn't occur. Again, we do proactive type service delivery, and it's built into the application. So if it's a known behavior, the direct support professional is not going to ignore it. And they will make sure that they're able to support that consumer, redirect them, or if that type of scenario is about to occur. But if it does occur, yes, the consumer is liable.
Okay. So again, that's when your policies and procedures come into place, and Optonome creates all your policies and procedures and goes over like these types of specific scenarios from like, hey, my consumer's girlfriend has been here for 3 days. Like, what's the policy on that? To like what Dennis is saying, if something damages, like your whole policies and procedures has all this information to have you covered, because our goal is that your liability is minimum. We want to get you fully covered in everything so you don't have to stress about this. That's what Optonome is for, to make it as least stressful as possible. So
that type of scenario happens in 24-hour care setting. You usually don't get that in a setting where someone has a job and more independent.
Yeah, so again, you can have two different types of homes. If you do, or two different types of setting. 24-hour care, which is someone that you need a nurse on site and you need DSPs like providing assistance at all times, and that's someone that is not safe and needs that type of assistance. The homes that I have right now, they are not 24-hour homes, because I didn't want to go that route. I want to go at least stress as possible. I do want a 24-hour home in time, but with that ability, these people can dress themselves, they can bathe themselves, they can put themselves to bed. So the risk should not be at that level. I mean, it's not just you accepting these clients in your home; it's the ISP team that's agreeing with it. It's the client's family. So that risk is very minimal for something like that to happen. However, there are policies and procedures put into place if anything were to happen. Okay. I think I got all of the questions. If you want to ask another question, write it down right now. But let's also talk about, what it looks like. Let's talk about what they're expected and the benefits of having Optonome if they start an agency, Dennis, in terms of the licensing, the fee, all of that stuff with getting started.
Sure. So I'll try to be brief. So we created a home healthcare agency in a box to really give you an overview of the industry and how we're going to get you started. And once you receive that, you're able to actually get started. And I'm currently teaching the regulations so you understand it. Even though Optonome takes care of the back office, if I could share right here. Even though Optonome takes care of the back office, you're still required to understand what it's doing in the back end, because at any given moment, you could be audited. And so, or you could have a question about your policies and procedures. Even though your policies and procedures are built into the application and managed, you still must understand everything. And so, that's what we're going. We make sure everyone goes through that process while we're waiting for your packets to come back for non-medical services. Your first packet, we try to get it out in the first 2 to 3 months. We are quickly expanding to different states. And so I'm literally building in the policies and regulations for each state into the actual application. So on average, it takes me about 5 to 10 hours for each state. And so it helps everyone understand once I get that done, you're able to have a timeline of how long it'll take you to get up and running. On average, is 6 to 9 months for each new agency. I say 6 to 9 months because some states have an in-person requirement that's only offered quarterly, and so there's nothing we could do about that. And so again, during that time frame, you are learning the ins and outs of the application. From day one, you're using the Optonome application, and it's continuously getting built out until you're actually providing services. Once you're providing services, you're still using the same application. Staff, direct support professionals, they're trained using Optonome. Once they're hired to provide services, they're using the same application. In today's landscape, that's not happening. Once someone is hired, someone has to train them again on the software that needs to be used for their electronic health record. All right. So we're making the process efficient the entire way. And that really helps you as well as the direct support professional to really focus on care delivery. And so that first year, you're providing non-medical services again. And that second year, we start the transition, help you put together your clinical team so you can become qualified for medical services.
Yeah, so actually I forgot there was one question. Where have people gotten started already? So off the top of my head, let me see if I can name them all. Okay, so we got Tennessee, we have Pennsylvania, we have Connecticut, Louisiana. Oh, by the way, Pennsylvania, if you're in Philadelphia and Pittsburgh, like it's a no-brainer. You should sign up because we're growing in that area. The more agencies that get started up, the even more successful in terms of opportunities there are for you. Then we have Florida. Florida is growing like crazy. If you are in Florida, you should sign up because Florida is popping. Can you think of anything off the top of your head? I have my list upstairs. So Connecticut.
Tennessee, Florida, Maine, South Carolina.
South Carolina's popping. Ohio is a great
Colorado,
state.
Minnesota, Georgia, Maryland, Iowa, Missouri, Connecticut. Yeah. How many states did I just mention? I don't know. Yeah, I think that's all the states.
I wasn't counting, but it sounds like it. So we're gonna close. I'm gonna say that for tonight, I'm going to have my calendar up. I'm gonna give it to you guys after this live if you want to sign up a time to chat with me. Dennis is gonna do the same tomorrow. We'll keep our schedules open for the day. Please sign up for your home healthcare agency in a box before you set a time with us because it's gonna go over a lot of questions. So I wanna make sure that we have a great conversation where I have your answers answered. But a lot of them will be answered with that home healthcare agency in a box that you'll receive. You'll also get your financial forecast through that, your business plan, major payers. So it'll really benefit you if this is something that you're really considering. So with that, I'm going to say, I hope that this was a good live for you guys. I hope this is something to get you excited about where you're making a true difference. You're getting that time freedom. You're getting that financial freedom. And like I said, like you're back to your therapy roots. So that's my last word. I'll leave Dennis his last words, and I'll put our calendars up if you want to fill in a time slot to chat with us. Okay.
Yes. Thanks for joining. For those that made it till the end, again, the home healthcare agency in a box is free. All right. So we're giving free ebook, business plan, and the next steps to really take control of your career, there is no reason why you should be working for somebody else in 2020 and beyond. This industry is $500 billion, and it's going to go to another agency. So hopefully it's yours. Thanks.
I hope you enjoyed the show. Check out our website at drmikechua.com or alternativehealthcarecareers.com for more information. Again, ACG, be awesome, be great, be excellent. Thank you, and hope to see you on our next episode. Goodbye.